guys, it's me, MenuGuide, and welcome to my kitchen. We're going to be making 3 intermediate tier recipes from the RuneScape Cookbook. Those recipes are, first and foremost, goulash, but we will also be making lobster and Redberry Pie. I was thinking I could maybe do like a Thugo cosplay, but I already did the bald cap and beard, and we didn't need to add a crop top. Those are the 3 recipes: goulash, lobster, and Redberry Pie. Without further ado, let's get cooking. We're gonna start with the pie crust because that needs to chill. This might be the most scuffed cooking stream yet, and that's saying something. So for this recipe, we're gonna take a bowl. They're metal bowls. We're in for a good time. I was prepared. So I was supposed to have ice cold water. I did really good about the whole ice part. Maybe it'll melt. And in the meantime, I'm gonna get some flour, butter, sugar, and salt. So I am going to take 2.5 cups of plain all-purpose flour. It's about 1 cup. I probably won't want to measure much of anything. And the second one. So you want to take your butter directly out of the fridge. You want 16 tablespoons, which is 2 sticks, cut into 1/2-inch cubes. God loves us and wants us to be happy. I'm just going to wing it. I'm not going to break out a ruler. That would be super nerdy. I'm just a normal person. This is probably going to be the best recipe of the stream. I almost added a piece of potato. Don't worry, there's plenty of time for me to fuck it up later. My hands are all greasy. Throw all of the butter in here. And then I add just a smidge of salt. And by smidge, I mean 1/2 teaspoon. Lock and load, 1 blender. My blender actually plays Flute Salad. Guys, there was just an earthquake. It's supposed to be the texture of wet sand. And this is what we're looking at right now. You can just grab like a little handful of it, and if you squish it, it does sort of stick together. So now we add the ice water. So just ice pick a hole, pour your water in. All right, so we still got a few pieces of ice. We're just gonna send. Then I have to stir with a wooden spoon. It specifies wooden spoon. And you want to make sure that you add extra water if the dough is too dry. If anything, my dough might be a little too wet, but it's fine. Don't you worry about it at all. I'm going to trust the process. I don't love right now where the dough is at. I'm just going to take this piece of ice out. This dough is so sticky. So I'm going to just form a perfect ball right here. I'm just going to flatten the ball directly onto this. Keep it as consistent as possible because when this goes into the pie form, it gets rolled out. And if it's uneven, we have a bad time. And to wrap it up a little bit, the rounder it is, the easier my job will be later. So these are going to go into the fridge for 1 hour. Next, we are going to make the filling. I need sugar, but I also need the fancy sugar that you only use once a year. I use it for Brulee Supreme. This is just raw sugar. So these are my cherries. I bought the frozen ones. I just don't want to stop eating them. If you're using frozen cherries, let them sit covered for a bit. As I was doing, I add 1/2 cup of granulated sugar to this. So we've got the cherries and we're going to put in a 1/4 cup and then another 1/4 cup. That's a lot of sugar, man. And then we add a 1/4 cup of tapioca starch, which is also known as gluten-free tapioca flour. We add salt, which is going to be just 1/4 teaspoon. I don't want to fuck this up. I know this is probably my most scuffed stream. And also I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla and a 1/4 teaspoon of almond. For the almond, I'm only going to add 1/4 teaspoon. I love the way these extracts smell. And 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. 1, 2, and a little bit for good luck. Oh, also lime zest and juice. We've zested 1 lime into here, and I'm just going to juice this lime now as well. And I know I am pathetically weak, but I have level 99 lime juicing. Lime maxing, thank you. My lime level is 99. Oh. That's not so bad. When I made the slap of compromise, that was kind of a similar flavor combination. We had the sweet, the cherries, the citrus, the almond, and I hope it tastes as good as the slap of compromise did. So I'm going to toss it together and stir. So this is going to sit at room temperature until the dough is ready. Oh, you can really truly taste the citrus in there. The elite ingredient is 2 teaspoons of ground guam. And this was a good pie, but I'll just stir that ground guam in. Make this. So we just chill with that for a little bit, and we're going to start the next recipe. Goulash is Maggie's specialty. I always thought goulash was made with tomatoes and ground beef, kind of like a chili.
Oh.
But it's not. There's no tomatoes in it at all. I am also making a smaller batch than usual, and I just got vegetarian meatballs. But this doesn't even call for ground beef. It calls for bone-in beef short ribs with excess fat trimmed. And this includes your ribs. If you're using ribs, you want to season those with salt and pepper. Everything's fine, don't worry. So I'm going to put in a little bit of MenuGuide olive oil. Now you're going to heat the oil over medium-high until it's shimmering. Now, if you were using ribs, you would sear it on all sides about 5 minutes per side. I'm just going to wing it and put a couple of meatballs in a pot and hope something good comes of it. We'll season that with a little pepper, a little salt, and a little Pepsi. I'm just going to pour a capful of Pepsi into here as well. The meatballs are starting to juice meatballs. And I'm going to break this into pieces because I feel like it's going to be bad goulash if there's 6 giant meatballs in it. They're still pretty frozen. We're going to give it a little longer. In a little bit, we're going to add celery, half of an onion, and half a bell pepper. And we're going to come over here and see some cool knife skills. What you do is you line up as many baby carrots as you want. Look how easy that is. So here's our meatballs. They're getting cooked up pretty nicely, but they're still sticking. I think I should probably start adding the other ingredients. Am I supposed to take these out? I think I am. I've made this mistake before where I've left the meat to continue cooking while I added the vegetables. I'm going to transfer this. Let's just add a little bit more. In goes about 3/4 of a stalk of celery, half of a red bell pepper, and half of a small yellow onion. Size apparently matters. I always thought it didn't. Give this a quick little stir. That's good. Those are going to cook until they're translucent, which is about 8 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to cut just 3/4 tablespoon of butter. And then you're going to add about 1.5 cloves of garlic. So we're going to use this knife for our garlic. I don't think the carrot trick works quite as good with this, but when you're mincing, it doesn't have to be perfect. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my 3/4 tablespoon of butter and my 2 cloves of garlic. And just give this all a stir. I'm going to add paprika, sweet paprika, and I'm going to add 1/8 of a cup. I'd say, honestly, this is about 1/8 of a cup. So I'm just going to pour this entire thing of paprika in here. Covered in paprika at this point. Put about that much flour in, I'd say. It's kind of the opposite of when I made gumbo because I made the roux and then I added the vegetables. So we want to wait until the flour smell disappears and the paprika gets dark. The paprika is quite dark looking, and I don't think it smells like flour. I don't think it ever smelled like flour. It only ever smelled like paprika. So I'm going to add my 1 cup of stock. This is a very useful culinary ingredient. You should always stock your cupboards with some. Return the meat / vegetarian meatballs, and in goes bay leaf. We are going to cover this and cook this for about 60 to 90 minutes, and we'll just turn it down to a simmer. The elite ingredient for this one is 1 oxtail. I'm going to add this later because I don't think it needs to simmer for an hour. Got this here for a Redberry Pie, which I'm very excited about. I might be more excited than Thugo. We're going to just turn back to this pie and resume that. So I've got my 2 pie discs of dough that have been chilling. I always like to roll my dough out on parchment paper. I'm not a furry, but I had such a crush on Shadow and Knuckles. And also Sonic's girlfriend. If I were a hedgehog, I would have been Homewrecker Hedgehog. Preheat the oven to 400 degrees. And I really don't know if I love how this dough looks. I think I'm going to cope by adding a little bit of flour. Create a nice non-stick surface here. It's definitely not as good as I would love it to be. It's not hard to make your own pie crust. I want to say this is good. This is about 1/4 of an inch thick. I worry I actually floured my surface too much. It is what it is at this point. There we go. Nope. Nope. Yeah, so as you can tell, there is still some parts where there's a lot of overhang and some parts where there's none. So I'm just going to carry on. So this goes into the fridge while I roll out that second one. We'll get to the pickles in a little bit. Don't you worry. But for now, we are rolling out the pie crust. This is a much smaller disc of dough than the last one. I am rolling it a little bit thin just to try and make what I do have spread out. We're going to take this and we're going to fill it with our cherry filling. It looks and smells pretty good. Now I get my egg and milk. I'm going to crack the egg in. You're going to add about 1 tablespoon of milk. Don't judge. I want to use a plastic fork to mix this. I'm just going to stick a couple fingers in and go like this. Oh, don't go in the filling. You can trim any extra overhang, but I don't really have a lot of extra overhang. I don't ever have bad ideas. And this is where we might see the pie crust ripping. No, it didn't rip, surprisingly. Put that on top. Fold the overhang over itself. Just kind of folding it. I actually have a lot more overhang than I thought. Just trimming the overhang off to try and make this look a little nicer. But I feel like my vibes are sort of the opposite of ASMR. I'm sure there's some people who like to fall asleep to the sound of pots and pans falling. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, perhaps. Get out. Hi, Miss Mousy. Put that here. This one can go here. That looks pretty good, right? Slit 2 slits in the center of the crust. It's not like dead center, but we're venting for air. Okay, and so now we sprinkle it with 1 tablespoon of raw sugar. Let's measure it. No, I wasn't even close. That's okay. We'll sprinkle it. It's going to cook on 400 degrees for 45 minutes to an hour. Place the oven rack in the lower 3rd position. Yeah, that's not happening. But wow, this looks so good so far. Oh my gosh. I could have put a mud rune on it and we could have made it a mud pie. I'm going to put this in the oven for 45 minutes. And it goes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I still got all this extra dough. This isn't even good. That gives us time to start our 3rd and final recipe of the night, which is lobster. I'm going really off script on this one, guys. Step 1, fill a chimney starter with charcoal. We're not doing that. This first step just tells you how to light a grill. So we're just going to skip that and go to step 2. Melt the ghee in a small saucepan over medium heat. Is ghee something that gets measured in a liquid measure or a non-liquid measure? Great question. I wish I had the answer. I'm going to say that's about good. Get that in here. So it is starting to melt. I'm going to add 1/4 of a shallot. Sometimes we just want to live in a world where it's sunshine and rainbows and things chop really nicely. We're going to also add 1/2 clove of garlic. There is 1/2 clove of garlic all chopped up. I'm going to add the 1/4 shallot and 1/2 garlic right into this. And we're going to let this cook until it's fragrant, which is going to be about 3 minutes. Now, it calls for dill. I don't have dill. I forgot to buy it. These look like they're getting a little burnt. I don't know why. I really don't think it's supposed to be like this, but YOLO! I also add fresh coriander and oregano, which does not have to be fresh. Just wing it. Put in some fresh cilantro in here. I think it's like, I don't know. Ah! Snap, crackle, pop Rice Krispies over here. But I suppose that's why this is an intermediate recipe. Also, I add lemon juice and zest. So I only need 1/4 of it. Here we go. But I do have to add a pinch of salt to this as well. So now that everything's added, we'll stir it up a little bit and then we will remove that from the heat for now. We're going to pause here and return to that goulash. I add carrots and potatoes. Look at this. And if you are cooking with beef ribs, they're going to be tender and should be falling off the bone. We're just going to add the potatoes and carrots for about 25 minutes. And this is 1 1/4 potato and a pound of carrots. Give it a quick stir before I cover it back up. Now, back to lobster. It's bubbling, so I'm going to turn it down to a simmer now. I do have some hearts of palm. They're supposedly similar in texture to lobster. A strong component of a lobster is the shell. So we've got some peanuts here. And we're going to treat the peanuts like we would treat a lobster. Cut the lobsters in half lengthwise. Good so far. Remove the rubber bands from the claws and then brush all over with 1 tablespoon of oil. Brush the lobster with some oil. We're going to cook our peanuts in this. So you grill the lobsters cut side down for 3 to 5 minutes. On a grill, you don't really have any oil, so I guess we're just doing this. I'll also grill some hearts of palm as well. Oh, I can't get the jar open. I'll be right back, guys. 3, 2, 1. That went about as how I expected it would. No, actually it went worse. So I was somehow hoping I would keep them in the jar. I found 2 hearts of palm that seemed like they were out of where the broken glass was. I'm gonna rinse them off anyway, just in case, because these kind of went flying into the bushes. It's not so bad. You cut it in half, and then you cook them. And then we flip them and drizzle with herb butter on the grill. So I don't want to do anything stupid, you know? Double checking by putting my fingers along a hot pan. The sharpest thing is the peanut shells. Individually flip each peanut. I don't think these hearts of palm are going to get charred, so I'm just going to flip them over. Oh, now we drizzle with ghee. I feel like the herbs are supposed to be coming out. Nicely drizzled. If someone said, guess what's in this pan, you'd immediately say lobster, right? You might even say RuneScape lobster, fresh from the docks of Karamcha. I guess this lobster is done though, right? Serve immediately with the remaining herb butter. Whoops. The tail meat will be completely opaque, but still tender. Wow. Bone apple teeth. I'm taking one for the team. Honestly, it's pretty good. I think lobster would have a similar texture to hearts of palm. It tastes slanty, and the peanut's crunchy, and it tastes like a peanut. Oh, I was supposed to serve it with lemon wedge. I'm over here making good decisions. I will be checking on the pie. It says 45 minutes to an hour. So the elite ingredient is 5 to 6 jangerberries. Put it on the plate, and this becomes a beautifully plated lobster. Pour it on camera so everyone can see. Doesn't this look so gourmet? How's my pie looking? Oh, okay, I left it in too long. So it's been in the oven for about 50 minutes, and it could be maybe a little bit more brown on top, but we've got pie juice leaking out. Absorb the extra juices. The way the air rune looks is really nice. Allow it to cool for 15 to 20 minutes. I am that trainer witch! I'm so happy you know! That's high praise. You could have said, are you crazy? And I'd be like, oh, yes, that is high praise. Slow rotation. Oh, eating those burnt herbs, they are flavorful. It's time to try this goulash. This is where we stir in our elite ingredient. It's an oxtail. I just threw my bowl in the garbage. And that's from Babe the Blue Ox. And just mix that in a little bit. And we do want to remove the bay leaf at this point as well. So I'll take that bay leaf out with my bare fingers because I fear nothing. We're almost done. We're getting really through the RuneScape Cookbook. Next stream will be pita bread and pizza. Yeah, the goulash does look really good. This doesn't look so bad. It looks strangely edible. The potatoes are a little underdone. Okay, carrots are a little underdone in my opinion as well. You can't really get your fork in them. Hey, this is fairly tasty. And this pie has had a little bit of time to cool off. Looking so good so far. It's so sad to have to cut into the pretty design, but it smells so good right now. No, I didn't get the bottom crust. I love the way that you've got the cherry and the lime flavors both at the same time. Look at that though. And remember, this Redberry Pie is made elite because we added 2 teaspoons of ground guam. This is really good. Thugo knows what's up. Such a good squishy texture on this. Maybe a little crispy and not so flavorful, but it's just the crust. I do recommend this. So just a quick recap of what we made tonight. Goulash, which we made elite with the oxtail. Of course, the Redberry Pie we just had was elite with the ground guam. And then last but not least, lobster. We've got the taste and the texture and the shell and the jangerberry. But if I can make these dishes, you guys certainly can. Go ahead and give them a try.